Hi, I'm Steve, and I'd like to talk to you today about panic. When some people panic, they lose all control and get absolutely desperate in their behavior. They get crazier, they get more unhinged, they get even more delusional and more dangerous. And this is exactly what's happening to Donald Trump. Trump has seen the latest polls. He's seen the shift in momentum to his opponent. He knows that whatever temporary lead he had in this race has slipped away, and Trump can sense that it's not coming back. And he's terrified, for good reason. Trump is a convicted felon awaiting sentencing. Think about that. He was also found guilty of financial fraud. Trump was also found guilty of rape. Trump loves brutal, sick dictators and wants to join them. He bows down to Vladimir Putin. How embarrassing is that for our country that a man who was once president and wants to be president again bows before a Russian dictator, bows before a bloodthirsty leader of the Kremlin who has murdered hundreds of thousands, perhaps millions, and Trump calls him a genius. It's gross. It's vile. It's disgusting. Trump praises Putin, and it's obvious that Putin must have something compromising on Trump. How else could you explain it? And how else could Trump support Putin's bloodthirsty attack on Ukraine and act as though somebody provoked him and he's not really responsible for the murderous rampage on that country? Like a cornered animal, Trump is now striking out in desperation. Only a scared and absolutely desperate and deranged person calls his opponent a communist? A communist? Now, why would he do this? Well, it's because Trump is losing and he knows it. He's bleeding, and his prior attacks, making fun of her name, using racist lies, stoking fear and hatred, cannot stop the bleeding. So he has to resort to screaming, "Communist!" because his other attacks haven't worked. Trump has nothing to offer except hate and fear. He has to make people fearful, and he has to fill people with hatred and suspicion in order to have any chance of winning this election. Trump is a sad, pathetic, terrified little weak man who feels the walls closing in on him. And after his felony sentencing in November, he will still face 3 more criminal trials for multiple felonies. Think about that. He's going to be sentenced as a convicted felon in November, shortly after the election, win or lose. You know, when people are confident of winning, whether it's in business or politics or athletics or anything else, you express the hopeful. You express the positive and the optimistic. You inspire people. When you're fearful of losing, you eventually just start calling people names. And when the names don't work, you show your panic by yelling "communist" at your opponent. It would be laughable if it wasn't so serious. Trump lost by 3 million votes in 2016. Trump lost by 7 million votes in 2020. Trump will lose by at least 10 million votes this year. Trump's only hope is to rig the so-called Electoral College, which allows the loser to win. It's a terrible institution. And the Electoral College is his only hope. And he has to use fear and hatred and increasingly unhinged and desperate name-calling to even have a ghost of a chance. You know, most Trump voters are good people who I have no issues with. I know a lot of them. But Trump is a bad and corrupt person who will abuse power and stoke fear to get what he wants. And once he gets what he wants, he really doesn't care about anyone else. He only cares about himself. I will not be voting for Donald Trump. He is not to be trusted. He's emotionally unstable and showing clear signs of mental decline. Everybody knows that. And he only cares about himself. Think about these facts before you vote, please. And thank you for listening. And please like and subscribe.